Here's $1,700 of profit in about 40 seconds inside of my Top Step 50K evaluation. Okay, now the rules for this are very simple. We can't make more than 50% of our goal, so 1,500 bucks. But we can't lose more than $1,000 in a day because we'll be done trading for the day. So what we have is price trending up. We get a very solid pullback. We enter at basically the bottom of our buy zone as price kind of gets back into the channel a little bit. And then from there, it just springboards up. And so I hold on to this one because I'm trading 5 contracts. I'm maxing out the leverage that I can use for this account. And because I'm trading 5 contracts and the ATR was really high at this time, I thought I could get a really good move. And that's exactly what we got. So price kind of huddles around for a while. I'm up 600 bucks, 700 bucks or so. And then it really starts to take off, and we're sitting in just a wonderful spot. So 1,700 bucks of profit there, and I actually have to trade the account back and forth a little bit to avoid that consistency rule. So I have to buy and sell to get those commissions down. Really good trade. I made $1,300 in 20 seconds, and if you want to do the same thing, pay close attention. Here's my exact strategy. I wait for price to trend, I wait for it to pull back in the opposite direction, then I enter, then I let it continue that trend. We get nothing different on this trade, 1,300 bucks in 20 seconds. Here's $600 of profit in just about a minute. So what we have here is the same setup we always have. We have price trending up outside of our channel. We wait for a pullback because we don't want to be a sucker and get in and chase price. We want price to come to us. It does, and it just explodes. Price just runs up. Now, I was up $800 or $900 in this trade before I ended up exiting for 640, so left a little bit of meat on the bone there. But very solid trade. This thing actually continued all the way up, and we ended up making 1,700 bucks on a different trade, but the same trend. So when you get the right entry, all of this becomes very easy. I let price go negative or break even for a second, and then we ended up getting out at 640. Super solid trade. I'm not a better trader than you. I just know exactly what I'm looking for, and when I see it, I capture it. And what I'm looking for here is price breaks out of our channel. Okay, it drops down outside of those two white lines. It then curls back up. A lot of you guys chase it. You would have sold the minute that candle opened and you got blown out of your trade. Instead, we wait for price to curl up a little bit, which is exactly what I'm looking for, and I buy with value. Okay, I don't buy a house at the top of the market. I want to buy the house at the bottom of the market and capture all that appreciation, which is essentially what we get here. So price curls back up, and I'm down, I think 3, 4, 500 bucks here. Not a huge deal because we ended up making just shy of 1,000, and price was moving a lot. So being down 500 bucks at this time isn't a big deal. The ATR was really high, but all we had to do was just hold for a little bit and then price falls. If you would have gotten in at the beginning of this candle, you'd have been down $1,000 and that would have closed out your Top Step account, closed out your Apex account. But instead, we make just shy of $1,000 and it took us a minute. Here's $1,500 in just over 3 minutes trading inside of my Top Step evaluation account. Now, inside of a Top Step evaluation account, you can't make more than half of your daily goal or half of the account goal. So it's a 50K account, can't make more than 1,500 bucks, and so that's where I cap it. Now, we had a very solid move here. Price basically just started pushing down, and we wanted to be a part of that. Now, I bumped up my risk to 5 contracts inside of evals. I want to take the least amount of trades possible in order to hit that goal. Okay, so if it's on Apex, I'm going to lever up a little bit depending on what the drawdown can be. If it's on Top Step, then I'll lever up to get what I can get, knowing I can only make about 50% of those profits. Now, this trade was very straightforward. Price rolls up, it barely touches our entry zone there, our sell zone. I miss it by about 1.5 points, maybe 2 points, but we are basically in profit the entire time. So candle number one, trade number one ends up being about $1,000 of profit. So really good trade here. Probably could have captured a little more, but super solid. I was going to check my P&L, but the very next candle opens and it does exactly the same thing. It rolls up just enough in order for me to get a solid entry. Now, my entry was a little bit too soon. No way for me to know that in real time. Couple things here. I ended up being down about 600 bucks on this specific candle before turning to profit about $200 or so. So, really nice trade here, but the risk reward wasn't maybe in line. The reason I'm okay rolling with price 625, I think it was the max, right? The reason I'm okay with that is I just made $1,000. Right, so my total risk reward on this thing was not bad. My drawdown was pretty low altogether, but I just made 1,000, and so my account was like this. Then if I lose, let's say I lose 800 bucks, I'm not going to blow a $1,000 trade with $1,000 loss. You can see we're up 1,200 bucks on this eval so far. We're going to get to 1,500 here in just a second. But if my account looks like this, up 1,000, run an eval, and then it drops down, as long as my loss isn't more than my previous win, then I'm okay with these huge ups, big downs, huge up, these big downs, and my account's gonna look like this. As long as it's trending up in the right direction, I don't really mind too much. And so that was the kind of the point there is if I'm down 625, I just made $1,000. I'm not ultra worried about a big drawdown on that candle. So we missed this candle here. I wasn't aggressive enough um, to get this trade. I should have been. The price did the exact thing that I had just done. It rolled up, touched our zone, and pulled back. And so, not the greatest there, but we had a chance. We didn't get it. Now, the other thing you have to keep in mind, and this is what I'm keeping in mind here, is I can't go over that $1,500 or 50% rule, right? So what ends up happening in this account actually is we're going to get it on the next candle. I'm going to catch another like $300 trade or so, and I'm going to have to I won't show it in the video, but I don't want to go over that rule, so I have to quickly in and out, in and out, in and out trade a few times to basically let those commissions stack up to push me under that. I was over $1,500. So price rolls up here, really solid trade here. This one we nailed. And then price it falls right in our favor. We get to 275. Ended up being about $300 on that trade, so really good. And we're at 1537 for this trade, so really good one. I was excited to see that. All right, now this trade happened really fast. So we have price trending up very nicely, and we get in on a pullback. Okay, we were probably a point and a half a little late on this one. Could have had a little bit more profit here. We ended up making about $420 on this trade. Now, don't pay attention to the green and yellow squares up next to the candles. I was testing out some different methods to try and see price a little clearer, and it looks nice, but it really isn't super useful, so I won't be adding it going forward. But price pulls back here. We get a very nice entry. Our trade didn't move as fast up on the first candle, but the very next candle we were able to capture a ton of profit, so good trade there. Now here's $525 on this one trade here, and it's going to be a short trade. So we have price really pushing down fast. It leaves our channel, and now we're looking for a short. We know that. Now price reverses back up. That's going to be our entry signal. So price pushes up, and I'm about 3 points early on this one. I could have been a little bit more precise with my entry, but I wanted this move. Price yanks down really fast. We get a small pullback. I capture that. And then from there, it's just trying to figure out how much money do we want to make. So because I've seen price move violently quite a few times already this morning, I wanted to hold just a little bit longer to see if I could get some decent profit out of this thing. And so we do. So we're up 285, 270, price pulls back a little bit, and then it really runs down. And I probably left a little bit on the table, but we were able to capture over $500 using 3 contracts. That's a really solid move, and we can't be too disappointed in that. So here's price flying down, 450, 480, 375, and then we end up getting to our 525, and we're done. All right, here we are inside of our Top Step evaluation account. We have passed, did it in 2 days on just about 7 trades. We'll look at some of the details here in just a second. But let's go through some of the results and check it out, see it for yourself. This is pretty typical. Passing in about 2 days or so is what I like to do. Let's take a look at what we had to do here. So 53,000, made $3,060 over that 2 days. We can see our scale here. So able to pretty much a straight line, right? Day 1, we made $14.95. Day 2, able to make the remainder of that. I'm going to do the math in my head here. So days to complete 2, we won both of those days. Nothing to see there. Now I'm going to explain this here in just a second because it has to do with this as well. All right, but to understand this, let's go down here. So on day 1, let's see, where was it? I took 8 trades, okay? Now, the reason I had to take 8 is I recorded 3, right, and they were all wins. I made $1,600, I think. And so what I had to do is actually flip the account a couple times. So I had to actually buy and sell, and that's where I was able to, I took a couple of losses in a row, able to bring down my wins so that I was underneath that profit threshold, so I didn't have to trade a 3rd day, which is how we ended up with an 81% win rate. Because day 2 was 4-0, and then day 1 was 3 wins in a row, and then we had 3 additional trades we had to take to get that flipping rule. Okay, so really good there. Looks like we're average win rate's about 75. Well, I guess it's undefeated technically, but average win's about $347, with my biggest win being $1,053 after commissions. That was on day 2. That was the first trade I took. And then my average loss was 20 bucks, with my largest loss being $30. So anytime that your average win can be $320 or $47, and your average loss is a heck of a lot lower than that, you're sitting in a really good spot. Okay, so that kind of explains the numbers here. And so that's what an evaluation passed in 2 days looks like. Pretty simple, pretty easy. Got quite a few of these. Maybe I'll do another one here and we'll look at that as well. I'll see you in the next one. Peace. All right, here we are inside of our Top Step evaluation account. We have passed, did it in 2 days on just about 7 trades. We'll look at some of the details here in just a second. But let's go through some of the results and check it out, see it for yourself. This is pretty typical. Passing in about 2 days or so is what I like to do. Let's take a look at what we had to do here. So 53,000, made $3,060 over that 2 days. We can see our scale here. So able to pretty much a straight line, right? Day 1, we made $14.95. Day 2, able to make the remainder of that. I'm not gonna do the math in my head here. So days to complete 2, we won both of those days, nothing to see there. Now, I'm gonna explain this here in just a second because it has to do with this as well. All right, but to understand this, let's go down here. So on day 1, let's see, where was it? I took 8 trades, okay? Now, the reason I had to take 8 is I recorded 3, right? And they were all wins, but I made 1,600 bucks, I think. And so what I had to do is actually flip the account a couple times. So I had to actually buy and sell, and that's where I was able to, I took a couple losses in a row, but able to bring down my wins so that I was underneath that profit threshold, so I didn't have to trade a 3rd day, which is how we ended up with an 81% win rate, because day 2 was 4-0, and then day 1 was 3 wins in a row, and then we had 3 additional trades we had to take to get that flipping rule. Okay, so really good there. Looks like we're average win rate's about 75. Well, I guess it's undefeated technically. But average win's about $347, with my biggest win being $1,053 after commissions. That was on day 2. That was the first trade I took. And then my average loss was 20 bucks, with my largest loss being $30. So anytime that your average win can be $320 or $47, and your average loss is a heck of a lot lower than that, you're sitting in a really good spot. Okay, so that kind of explains the numbers here. And so that's what an evaluation passed in 2 days looks like. Pretty simple, pretty easy. Got quite a few of these. Maybe I'll do another one here and we'll look at that as well. I'll see you in the next one. Peace. Here's $760 to close out my Apex 25K eval in just 1 day. I saw Apex was running a sale, thought I'd grab an account and knock it out really quick. So here's what we have. So price leaves our channel and it flies down, and then it reverses back into our sell zone, which then we take a position here. Now this trade, although I really believed in it, took a lot longer than I thought it would to actually be profitable. So at first we were up a little bit, then price reverses back, and we basically have the same song and dance back and forth for about this entire candle, and then winds up being the next candle a bit, and then it falls in our favor here. So we'll kind of watch as price sits and dances. I think I was down 300 or 400 bucks at one point on this trade, but I was looking to get about 650 or so to close out my account, and so I had to hang on to this trade a little bit longer. Otherwise, I probably would have taken like a $250, $300 profit, and then tried to take the next candle. So here's price, pushes down, rolls back up a little bit. I'm considering exiting this trade. And then it begins to push, and there goes our 760, and we probably could have had a little bit more, but all we needed was that amount to close it out. So there you go, solid trade. All right, so 3 trades on this video here, a win, a loss, and a win. So let's walk through them all. So we have a buy limit that we're trying to get a fill for, and we just don't get it. Price does end up getting close to my level, but not all the way. So I cancel the buy limit order, and I just jump in with a market order. And we get a decent fill, and price ends up running pretty good for us. Had we gotten it a lot lower, we'd have made a lot more money. But this first trade, we made 200 bucks, which is almost unbelievable now looking at it, because I was up 380, I think. And then price just pulled back on me. So ended up making $200 on this trade, and it was okay. Can't believe I only made that much looking at what price action was doing, but it is what it is. Now I'm gonna skip ahead. The next candle didn't give us any bottom wick action, and so I wasn't able to capture anything there. I had to sit, wait, and watch that one. The next candle though, Price does pull back a little bit, which is exactly what I'm looking for. And I enter a very aggressive trade. The thing about this trade is when you are aggressive, you're going to get bit and burnt sometimes, and that's exactly what happened here. So price does move up in my favor. I was up a little bit on this trade, but not enough to really worry about. I just made 200 bucks. I'm trying to make another 400 or 500 bucks, maybe close out this eval. I don't get that. Instead, price goes up a little bit and then strongly pulls back on me, and I end up losing about like $500 on this trade, 480 or something like that. Wasn't really paying attention, and we'll talk about why that was because the next trade I ended up winning. So we're up 120, and then that was pretty much it as far as profit goes. Price dances around, and then we're down 300. We're not doing too well here, 440. So price reverses all the way back down. Now, not a huge deal. I still like a long position here, and so I jump into another long. And on this trade, it happened pretty fast. We should have made 200 or so. We ended up making 140, which put us up about 500 bucks on the account so far for this eval. So super solid trade, but left a lot on the table there. Now here's $1,000 trade, or just shy of it, here in about 2 minutes. So we got in at the right spot. It just took longer than I expected to actually get this trade. So we had huge price action. And when you have big price action, a couple things might happen. A, price might reverse all the way down, which I was pretty confident we wouldn't have because we had such a strong move up. We could have price sit and kind of huddle around, which is what basically happened here. Or we could have price completely just explode. Like we have multiple candles in a row that basically give us no entry point. So I wasn't sure where we would be on this one. So what I wanted to do was just get in kind of aggressively. That's what happened. So I was probably 2 points early or so on this trade, but it ended up being okay. So price just hangs out right here. Not much more to say than that. It just sits here and we're just waiting and waiting and waiting. And this happens for probably 2 minutes before we end up getting that nice run up that I was expecting previously. So we'll kind of sit here and just watch as price dances. I was down about 240 at one point, maybe a little more. Can't remember exactly here. And then it goes up and it comes back down. So we have this candle that begins to push. And this is where I'm thinking maybe take a little bit of profit, but I want to let this thing really run for a couple reasons. But primarily inside of any sort of evaluation account, what you want to do is try to max out the profit that you can in the least amount of trades as possible. Reason for that is A, you want to spend as little time as you can inside of an evaluation. The second thing is I'm going to use as many contracts as possible. So taking 200 bucks on 4 contracts isn't really acceptable as a trade because my losses could be much larger. So I want to extend that risk reward so that my wins are significantly larger than my losses if I'm to have losses. So we're up 400 bucks here, 320. And I'm thinking like maybe I should get out, but I'm kind of just holding off. Price hasn't given us a reason to think it's going to come back down. Now, I'm in with 4 contracts and price is kind of huddling around. So it wouldn't take a ton of price movement for me to be like, I'm going to lose 500 bucks here. So I want to be patient, but at the same time, I kind of knew what I was getting into here. So price is unwilling to come back down. So fantastic entry. If you have the right entry, don't want to have to worry about a whole heck of a lot here. Price gets closer to break even. And then we really start to take off here in the last, 20 seconds of this trade. We get up just over 1,000. I was hoping to get like 1,400 bucks. And I kind of got it, but just didn't get out. And I ended up pulling back on me to be just about a $960, $970 trade. So really good trade here. It just took a little longer than I thought, but we got exactly what I was looking for. What's going to separate you as a trader is your expectations of what happens inside of a trade. Bad traders expect everything to go their way, and then when it doesn't, they don't know how to handle it. Okay, so for example, we have this trade here. This isn't the best example of it, but I get into this trade and price kind of goes against me, and it goes against me pretty good to the point where I'm kind of thinking, maybe I don't want to be in this trade. It's the wrong trade. But you have to overcome that fear of losing or blowing up an account and just trade through it. Okay, very rarely does price do exactly as you expect. As a matter of fact, the way that you handle the negativity when it comes to actually taking a loss or just a trade drawing down on you pretty good is going to set the stage for how successful you can be. If you can't handle a little bit of setback or failure, it's going to be very tough for you to overcome that. So here's $560 in 90 seconds or so. This is a very, I would say, routine type of trade. You just have to wait for the setup here. So we get price, it dances, it dances. I was probably 4 to 5 points too soon. I think I was down 360 or so at one point in this trade. And then it eventually goes in my favor. And I actually ended up leaving like 400 bucks on the table, I think, or maybe it was only 300 bucks, but I Definitely could have gotten out a lot sooner and made a lot more money. 720, I'm seeing $900 there, and I'm closing on the 560. So kind of embarrassing on that end of things, but solid trade nonetheless. Here's a textbook short trade using the predictive model. So prices flying down strongly. We get a decent reversal into our sell zone here, and we take it. And I could have made, I think, $200 or $300 more than I did. I think I ended up making only $180, which kind of stinks. Um, so not the greatest, but a perfect trade. Prices flying down is trending. It reverses back up. That's our entry, and then we're able to close out with some solid profit here. The number one skill great traders have is anticipation. And what that means is that you see something and believe in something before it's actually real. And so here's a trade where price is rolling up, it reverses back, and it reverses deep enough for me to believe that price is going to come down and then jump way up. And that's what happens. But before it jumps way up, it actually get down about $500 or so in this trade. Now, the second half to this is you have to have confidence. A lot of new traders and experienced traders too who aren't profitable, what they do is they want to have all the information. They want to be able to clearly see the trade. And what that does is it leaves you with a like very small amount of meat on the bone, and you end up getting blown out of trades really easy. The difference is when you can anticipate, you can actually jump in when it's ugly and capture a lot of profit like this trade here. Here's 560 pretty quick.